every single issue that we have in this state can be fixed by weed. West Virginia has a very big drug epidemic, okay? Very big problem here. Heroin, meth, all this stuff. Heroin's a big one. It's a massive problem in this state, okay? Well, what we're now being told, including opioid abuse, okay? But what we're now being told is that the solution to solving our drug problems is legalizing more drugs. We're going to legalize pot. That's what they're going for now, medical marijuana. But see, here's the thing. They're talking about how this isn't recreational. However, people who are given a prescription for this, according to a genius amendment that was added by our beloved Senator Robert Karnes, actually represents me, and I know the guy. He's made it so if you have a prescription, you can grow up to 2 marijuana plants. So your neighbor can be growing it right beside of you. And you mean to tell me that people aren't going to just walk over and steal those plants if they really want it bad enough? Yeah. So you're going to see more of that, more accessibility. Basically, what we're going to see take place with this is that people are going to be growing marijuana legally and then illegally distributing it without to people without prescriptions. I guarantee that's what's going to happen. So in other words, they'll be growing it legally, but they'll be illegally distributing it to people without prescriptions. So basically, that just gives them the legality to grow the plant, which makes it easier on them to distribute it because they can grow it, right at their own place, up to 2 anyway, 2 visible. But I tell you, it's just makes me so absolutely mad. And these people don't use any ounce of sense either. It's just, well, okay, we're going to legalize it for the heck of it because it's such a wonderful plant. They recognize this thing as being like a plant god. It solves all of our problems. That's typically what potheads do. It's so great. It's so wonderful. It'll solve everything. It'll solve our financial problems. It'll solve our opioid addiction problems because drugs solve other drug problems. We have all these other different things that it will solve. Oh, it's such a god. This is the West Virginia God that we need to come in and fix everything. Every single thing, every single issue that we have in this state can be fixed by weed. That's literally what we're being told by these people. It's the most insane argument that I've ever heard that can be so easily debunked, and that is exactly what we are going to do. Okay? It passed our state Senate 28-6. We have 28 inbreds in the state Senate that voted in support of this, and 6 that voted against it. That's literally what we have going on here. The West Virginia legislature is considering a bill now, and this is in the House of Delegates, to legalize medical marijuana. Now, one other thing that's important to point out is that it's still federally illegal, okay? Federal law deems the drug as illegal. The DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration, addressed the matter in August of 2016. Marijuana remains as a Schedule I substance, and that's under the Controlled Substances Act. Substances in Schedule I are determined by the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, to have no medical use. If West Virginia legalizes medical marijuana, they will be in defiance of federal law. So here's another question that I have to ask you. If there are any legal expenses that we have to cover to maintain that marijuana is legal, are we prepared to financially afford that? Because we're already in debt all the way up to our eyeballs. And then on top of that, you also have the cost of legalization. That's another important factor to consider. If we go over to Colorado, what they ended up finding in Colorado through recreational marijuana is that all the money that came in actually was supposed to go to the educational system, but instead it was distributed to the cost of legalization. So in other words, they had factors that they had to fund pertaining to the cost of legalization, the expenses that go along with legalization, that money actually went toward rather than the educational system, which is what the politicians told the people that the money was where the money was going to go. Okay, now here's the thing. According to the Rocky Mountain HIDA report, okay, it said in October 16th of 2016, Traffic fatalities increased 62%. That's in Colorado. The report found that 77% of Colorado's DUIs involved pot in 2015. Now, here's what I was talking about earlier. Denver's Fox 41 affiliate, KDVR, reported that schools were promised $40 million in marijuana taxes, but gained nothing due to funds being involuntarily distributed to the cost of legalization. In an interview with the Huffington Post, Department Director of the Colorado Governor's Office of Marijuana Coordination, J. Schuyler McKinley, expressed this reality. And this is what he said. Every dime we bring in from legalization is dedicated to the cost of legalization. He said, the big lesson we tell other states is that you probably shouldn't legalize marijuana if you want to make money. That's not why you do it. So here's the thing, guys. They were saying, oh, well, it's going to solve our financial problems. We're going to get so much money from this. In the state of West Virginia, they do not tax prescription medication. So West Virginia isn't going to benefit monetarily from this. They don't make any money from it. So in other words, what that means is that West Virginia will have a cost of legalization for legalizing medical marijuana, and we will not have any financial benefit from this because prescriptions are not taxed, which means that we will have an additional financial burden without a tax to combat the cost of legalization. So it's actually going to cost us more money rather than help us. And then we're going to have an entire committee formed, too, to deal with marijuana, which there's more money going to the committee. So in other words, we're bringing on another expense for ourselves that we do not need. But are they considering that? No, because we want to get high. All the delegates are potheads, or senators, I should say. I hope the delegates have some more sense in the Senate. But we'll see. They're going to be voting upon it expected next week. Thank God for Tim Armstead, the House Speaker. He's the only one that's really putting up a huge fight with this. But we have the University of Texas in Dallas. Brain connectivity erodes after 6 years. According to a study by the Center for Brain Health at the University of Texas in Dallas, after about 6 or 7 years, brain connectivity and integrity begin to erode by smoking marijuana. According to the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, you have an increased risk of testicular cancer, schizophrenia, social anxiety disorder, worsened bipolar disease, suicidal thoughts, heart attacks, impairment, bronchitis, and pregnancy issues. That was according to a report from NBC News. You have University of Washington. Marijuana smoke is carcinogenic. It is also found to weaken the immune system, according to a study from the University of South Carolina. Federal Advisory Panel found that you have an increased risk of schizophrenia and heart attacks. That's according to an article in the Daily Mail. You have the American Lung Association said that marijuana smoke is carcinogenic, leads to chronic bronchitis. You have the American Chemical Society. Heavy metals found in marijuana smoke. Heavy metals include arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury, etc. You have hydrogen cyanide. Ammonia was found. You have polyclinic aromatic hydrocarbons. You have all these various carcinogens that are found in marijuana smoke. But yet, we're not going to focus on that, right? You have the New England Journal of Medicine. Marijuana contains 4 more times tar than cigarettes. You have the University of California. Marijuana contains 4 times more tar than cigarettes. So, I mean, guys, we have American University. Marijuana smoke is carcinogenic. I mean, we can go on and on and on here. Washington State marijuana statistics. Fatal driving accidents have increased 122% from 2010 to 2014 following the legalization of marijuana. 32,059 grams of illegally possessed marijuana were seized during the first 9 months of 2015 off highways and interstates across Washington following legalization. You have marijuana being a fat soluble. They always say that, well, you know, it's far less, harmful than alcohol. Well, according to facts, alcohol wears off within a 24-hour period. Marijuana lasts in your system for a minimum of 3 weeks. It can go to months. And the reason why is because it is a fat soluble, meaning that when you smoke it, it is stored in your fat for a minimum of 3 weeks. Okay? And it also alters your way of thinking. It is a psychoactive drug. Now, we don't have that with cigarettes, okay? We don't have that with caffeine. But marijuana is a psychoactive drug. Now, if you want to take the CBD component out of it and put that into an oil, then we can talk about that. You can have an argument about that. You're still going to have some of the same effects, but a lot of this comes from the plant itself. A lot of it comes from THC. But we don't want to talk about that. No, we're not going to discuss facts, because all this stuff is just provided by the big pharmaceutical companies. That's what's behind all this. Well, all right, fine. Let's start calling it big weed. You have all the potheads that are so potted out of their mind that they don't even know what's going on, that completely reject all facts. It's insane. You can't tell these people anything because they're so darn high that they completely ignore anything that you present to them that is worth any ounce of credibility. What do they base their opinions upon? It makes me feel good. It makes me feel high. Whoo! That's literally their argument. It makes me feel good. Completely ignore all the scientific information. Completely ignore all the health studies from dozens of credible organizations. Doesn't matter. It gets you high. If they weren't interested in the high, then they wouldn't be legalizing marijuana. They would be developing, they would be allowing CBD to be used in oil. If they're going to say that that treats epilepsy, all right, CBD, that component is non-psychoactive. So, okay. Or, hey, what about Marinol? Marinol pills. All right, let's take that. People take that in states where this is okay, to deal with vomiting and nausea and stuff like that that comes from the chemotherapy. All right, fine. Take Marinol pills if you want the health effects, if you want the health benefits from this. But no, why? Because they want to get high. They want to get on their little Rocky Mountain high, and that's the only reason why they are pushing forward with this bill. It's because this is just the next step from recreational marijuana. And this Senator Richard Ojeda, a.k.a. Senator Pothead, is going to probably be advocating in the future for recreational marijuana. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. I have some audio bits I want to play for you in the next segment from this Richard Ojeda guy, Democrat from Logan County, which, you know, I'm just saying, Southern West Virginia has a much bigger drug problem than we have up here. Because, we have a drug problem too, but drugs are pretty darn bad down in the southern part of the state. So, they keep saying that a lot of these politicians that are opposing medical marijuana, a lot of these politicians that oppose marijuana in general, are somehow being funded by the big pharma companies. That's what they're saying. That's a garbage that they're saying. I was... Just by me talking about this, they're saying, oh yeah, the big pharma companies are giving you a paycheck. I want to see you sending your paycheck. That's the paranoia that goes along with marijuana, by the way. It's insane. Absolutely insane. And you can't tell these people anything. You can't tell them facts. You can't tell them that from what a lot of these plants are grown in. There are heavy metals that are included in them, where you have things like mercury. I can go on and on. Arsenic. You have lead. You have cadmium. But they don't want to talk about that. Why? Because they don't want to hear facts. All that they want is to get high. When someone is addicted to something and they are obsessed with something, you can tell them all the facts in the world, but they're not going to believe you. Why? Because they want to get high. They want to smoke pot. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, or even if you're a liberal and didn't, subscribe to the channel for more conservative insight and commentary on issues affecting the nation. Also, be sure to check out these other great clips from the show.